In this video, I'll show you how to create list views, your own personal views that contain exactly the list of records that you want to see. Creating a list view is pretty straightforward. It's just 3 steps. You name it, you decide what data filters to apply, and then decide which columns you want to show. There are a couple of gotchas, but overall it's really simple, yet oh so powerful. I'm logged into Salesforce Lightning. I'm going to create a list view on the Cases tab, so I'll navigate to Cases and click on that. List views can only include records from a single object. That's the main differentiator between a list view and a report. It's just one single object. By default, I'm shown this table. This is the list view. It's a list of my last 20 recently viewed records. This is the default, and I can go to this down arrow to see other views that I have access to, but if none of these work, I'll create a new view. So on the Cases tab, if you look over to the right, you see this new button. Don't click that. That's actually not the right button. When you click on it, it takes you to the screen to create a new case record. This is one of those gotchas that I wanted to point out. So I'm going to cancel out of that. What we're actually looking for is this little gear cog. This is the list view controls. This is what you want. Now you have the option to click new to create a new list view from scratch, or you can clone an existing view. Cloning is a great shortcut because it clones the columns and the filters, which you then just have to edit. I'll show you that approach first. I'm going to select this view here. This was created for my team, but let's say I want this view, but with less detail on the screen. So I'll navigate over to the gear cog and I'll select clone. On this first screen is step 1. I will name it. I'm going to go with number 5, My Open Cases, and then I'll click Save. Now, step 2, apply the right filters. The filter funnel panel is already open and waiting for us. The top option, Filter by Owner, I'm going to keep that as My Cases. Below that is a filter for cases that have a status of New or Open. If I want to add more values, I can click here to see all the values and add more if I want to, but I don't need to do that. And if I want to add additional filters, I can click Add Filter, and this presents me with the fields on the case object that I can use. Some popular options might be cases created greater than or equal to some number of days ago, maybe 15 days ago. Or maybe I only want to filter in my program cases on this view, and that is done via a field called Case Record Type. And I would say Case Record Type equals PH and W for this scenario. The filters are pretty much the most important thing for you to understand when creating list views, so explore the options so you really know how this works and what you can do with these. I'll click Save. Once the filters are all set, I can go ahead and collapse that filters panel and then look at how to adjust the fields that display in this view. And here's another gotcha. You might be used to clicking a column header and dragging it around into a new position to reorder the columns, but Lightning doesn't allow that. You have to use one of the list view controls. Go to the gear cog. You want Select Fields to Display. This right side here, this shows the columns already visible in the view. And then over on the left, that has all of the possible fields that you can display. You use these little arrows to change the order of the fields, which changes the order of the columns on that list view. And if I want to remove some of these columns, I would click to select it and then click the arrow to move it over onto the left. That removes the column. I can choose 1 or 2 additional columns to add, like maybe I'll add alert image. You just click the field and then you click the little arrow to move it over to the right. And I can change its location in the columns if needed. And when you're done with that, you click Save, and those columns are now added or removed from the list view, and they're in the order that you've chosen. Taking one last look at the list view controls, you can clone this view again if you want to create another version of it. You can rename it. You can edit the filters from here instead of using the funnel, or you can delete it if you no longer need it. So I think I'll show you one more just to make sure that you get it. Let's do one on the Campaigns tab. Let's say I want to see all my campaigns with a start date this fiscal quarter. So on that tab, I'll go to the gear cog. I'll click New this time so you can see how it works starting from scratch. And I'm going to name it. Oh, notice down here, it looks like I can share this view with others. I actually can't. These radio buttons on these other options down here, they're grayed out, And when I hover on this info message, it's telling me I don't have permission to share this view with others. After I click save, I'm taken to the view where I can continue to hone it. First, I apply the right filters. It defaults to My Campaigns, which I'll leave it at that, that works. But if I want to change that, I can. I just click it, and I can choose all campaigns and then further filter down from there, but I'm just going to leave this one at My Campaigns. And I want to apply a date filter. So I'm going to say start date equals this fiscal quarter. Yes, you can type in the words this fiscal quarter. In reporting lingo, what I just did there by using words instead of an actual date, that is called a relative date or a date literal. Reports and lists in Salesforce, they all support the common relative dates like this month, this week, next 7 days, next 10 weeks. You can Google Salesforce relative dates to read more about how that works and to see a list of date terms that are supported. Okay, I'll stop there with the filters. Notice as I've been applying filters, the data is changing. I'll go ahead and click save. And from here, I would go adjust the columns that I want to see in this view. But in the interest of time, I won't do that because I think you've got it from here. Keep in mind that you can create list views for a Kanban view. Kanban is supported for any view that has a field with a pick list where records are grouped or they have a natural progression like a stage or a status. List views are your on-screen organized way to see your data in a table or a Kanban to keep you cognizant of where you should focus your attention next. If you need help or have questions, we are just an email away.